Hey, it's Les from the TV Dudes. This week, I got to fulfill a childhood dream of mine in terms of interviewing. I was lucky enough to speak to Marsha Warfield, who played Roz on my absolute favorite sitcom, Night Court. We had a sit down about her time in stand-up, her work on Night Court, the Richard Pryor Show, coming out, and much more. It's a great discussion, and I hope you'll indulge me as I fanboy out a little bit. Enjoy. Hi, this is Les.
Hi, this is Marsha. How are you?
I'm doing wonderfully. Thank you so much for taking out the time today. I really appreciate it.
Well, thank you for having me.
Night Court was my absolute favorite sitcom growing up. It was one of my co-hosts on the show watched Cheers obsessively, and so I'm always telling him, like, look, man, Night Court's my Cheers. If you want to compare, so yeah, this is really special. I can't thank you enough.
Well, I appreciate it.
I wanted to talk about what you remember about your first stand-up experience. I just watched your start story today about that connection with the room and kind of all riding on your shoulders. What do you remember about the first time that you really shared with a room that you feel like you're funny and want to show that to them?
Wow, those are kind of different questions. The first night I went on stage, it was everything just made sense in life. It was there's two parts to the start story, and one is that it was a calling. I just felt like I had found my purpose the first night I went on stage, and I remember everything about it. It was 1974. I was 20 years old, and it was at the deli called the Pickle Barrel. Tom Dreesen had started a open mic night on Monday nights at the Pickle Barrel, and I told a friend of mine I was going to go down there and sign up, and then never did. But I did start writing things down that I thought would be funny if I did go. And I never went. Till one day she just showed up at my house, put me in the car, took me down there, and introduced me to Tom. And 4, 5, 6, 7 hours later, because it was about 2 o'clock in the morning when I finally went on, that's when it happened.
That's great. That's great to have a friend that will recognize that just saying, hey, will you go, you're going to sign up for that is not enough sometimes.
Yeah, well, she was a special woman. She's no longer with us, but Evelyn Ivory was her name, and we were high school friends and hung out a lot. And we're both really looking for what you want to do. We had jobs, but not careers.
Yeah.
And she was going to school, so she had an idea. I had no clue. But we kind of encouraged each other in that regard,
Was it difficult or what did you find most challenging about shifting from stand-up, connecting with the room, to something like the Richard Pryor Show with, like a more of a smaller cast improv where you've got a partner that you're connecting with, but cameras around? Was it difficult, or was there something new and thrilling about that difference?
It was terrifying. It was absolutely terrifying. I had no clue what I was doing, and they kept giving me more stuff to do, and I wanted more stuff to do. I mean, I was at this time 22, 23 years old, and thought I knew everything now, because by that time I had left Chicago and moved to Los Angeles, and had been doing stand-up for a whole 3 years, so couldn't tell me much of anything on that level. But I had no idea how to work with an ensemble and how to work with Richard Pryor. I mean, how do you work with a legend who would in the making. He was not only a legend at that time to us, he was blowing up.
Yeah.
Even bigger. So just being in the same room was, heart attack inducing. But it was exciting, and the most compelling advice from everybody was basically just do it. Just trust your instincts and go for it. And so that's what I did.
I've spoken before to actors that have taken over roles where, not that you directly took over the previous bailiff roles on, not the same character obviously, but have taken over roles after a tragedy is in a cast family, and it's always odd and difficult. Was there any particular moment where you felt like you bonded with the Night Court cast and this became y'all's show?
Oh, right away. They never ever made me feel uncomfortable in any way. They were still grieving Flo's passing. She died about 3 weeks before we started shooting. So they were still very much grieving and in shock. But they never made me feel awkward about that. They included me in their grief, as it was a cast, and you could feel the loss and you could feel the affection, and they extended the same kind of affection to me.
That's great. I always, not understanding at the time, I'm just watching TV and not really, fully getting what's going on behind the scenes to produce this for me. It felt so natural, and I really think it was probably a strong part of why I love the show was how well they handled that.
Had a lot to do with Harry. I mean, Harry was that kind of guy, and coincidentally, today is the anniversary of the passing.
Yeah,
and so we've been, reminiscing online and stuff. People are reaching out to me about their feelings, and he was just that kind of guy. Here again, I had no real experience in. I had no experience in doing sitcoms, one real or in the other kind of way. I had no idea. I just did what they told me. But Harry, right away, the first day, called me over to the bench and said, it's no big deal. He said, I'm not an actor either. Those guys are actors. They scare me too. And so from then on, he was always supportive and just genuine. He was more like Harry the Hat than Harry Stone, but he was both of them.
Yeah, having read his books, I was always surprised to kind of see that I had no idea growing up when I'm just watching him be a judge, quite what his past was.
He was a lovable scamp. He was a scamp and had a twinkle in his eye. Just a nice guy. And like I said, I think that him being the star of the show, that kind of personality, that became the show's personality.
I've heard you say, I think it was part of your start story, talking about having to trust yourself and kind of when things go wrong, it's usually when you didn't follow, when you stopped short or you're scared to follow your gut or you didn't go with your instinct. What do you feel brought on your retirement from stand-up and what brought you back to the stage? Kind of was it just an instinct about timing, or because I think the world could use some comedy to slap some sense into people right now.
Well, when I stopped doing stand-up, it wasn't about stand-up or show business. It was about family, and there were things that had to be attended to family-wise, and so they were. And when things got different, then I could refocus back on the show business, the stand-up that I've always loved. So it was pretty natural and well, I had put it out of my head, while I was dealing with the things that I had to attend to. But then when I had the time to reconsider and think about it, it was something I wanted to see if I still could do. And so I started all over again, just like I did back in the day, only, this time I didn't have the friends and mentors to drag me into the clubs. I had to go of my own volition and just find a way to find an audience to see if I could find an act.
Life always changes people. I'm not the person I was 10 years ago, thankfully. And I'm sure the intervening time had to change you. Do you feel like it had a change on how you build stage material or how you approach writing your set down or building your set?
Well, the mechanics are pretty much the same, but no, I'm not the same woman at all. I was a closeted gay woman, and now I'm not. I was in my 30s and 40s, now I'm not. I am a little more political, but I don't know. I might have always been. I don't know. But I'm more honest because I am more, this is it. This is who I am. It's what I got to say. And so that takes a lot of burden off of, trying to conform and figure out what kind of character you're going to be and all that kind of stuff. I don't have that. I'm just me. I'm this, woman in her 60s coming back, starting all over again, outspoken, me, and hopefully still a little kind of sexy.
I came out as bi and poly. My parents this year and some friends had known for a while, and for me there became this. Well, I've taken 3 out of 5 steps. Or I've taken 4 out of 5 steps. Why do I need to take that last step?
Right.
And so something that had struck me in your story was how you'd held off in deference to family. Having it kind of be an open secret, but having held off in that one regard, what surprised you most about how it felt finally making that announcement and coming out?
Well, for me, I realized that, and in talking to other people, like you said just now, we come out in stages. First we have to come to our own realizations that whatever they are. For me, I had to realize that, that's why I'm different, and get to that point and then start exploring dating and all that kind of stuff. So we come out in stages, and this was my, last big step, take the plunge once you're already in the freaking water. And what I found is it's not as scary as I thought. And I don't know if other people might have been able to say that. I mean, there are a lot of things that have happened in the intervening years that have probably made it that way, but it hasn't been as scary as I thought.
Yeah, I kind of feel like the world did rise up to meet me a little bit on on that score.
And it's liberating as all get out. I mean, it's like taking off a girdle. Wow.
Yeah.
You're still the same person, everything, but you took off that girdle, that straitjacket you wrapped around yourself.
Yeah.
For protection. So, it's confidence. It's a realization that you're strong enough to handle it, that it's, not as hard to handle, and it's a lot more fun.
Yeah, I definitely feel less armored up, lighter, a little easier to connect. I don't feel like I'm worried about a secret. It's great.
Yeah. So I'm kind of cool right now on about 90% of the fronts of my life, which is, I think, like, batting 1,000.
Yeah, I think exactly. I think most of us would love to be hit 90%.
Yeah, I'm really, now the 10% that's bad is pretty bad, but the rest of it is pretty great.
You got to have something to do, right?
Yeah, well, that's the way life is.
Stand up and stage shows, like your Vegas residency, those have got to be such a personal, open rapport for engaging with the world and being able to get your opinions out there and get your feelings out there and get the kind of laughter you like, what you think's funny out there. What single thing would you really want an audience to understand if you could get on the same page with them in one go? Is there any one thing you really want to communicate out there to the world?
Don't get comfortable. Just don't get comfortable. It's a Betty Davis kind of thing. Fasten your seatbelts. It's going to be a bumpy night. We're going to talk about the things what scare us. We're going to talk about gay kids, and gay old ladies with sex drives and no outlets. We're going to talk about race. We're going to talk about family. And we're going to talk about, we're just going to talk about the things I think that are me. I mean, that's who I am. And it might be a little uncomfortable, but that's not why we're here. And so I'm going to try to make it not so uncomfortable, but not going to avoid topics. And we're going to hit them head on and come out as a group unscathed at best and better for it. At worst, and better for it at best.
Well, you're damn funny, and I'm so glad that you're back out there. And I can't thank you enough for your time today.
Well, thank you so much, and I hope to see you sometime.
Yeah. The next time I get to Vegas, I got to catch your set. So.
Please do. Bye-bye.
The TV Dudes is an independently run podcast and a member of the Electric Sweater Podcast Network. We are exclusively listener supported. If you'd like to help us out, go to patreon.com/tvdudes. You can like us on Facebook and Twitter @TVDudes. All the music for our show is by our friend and original TV dude, Gregory J. Amani Smith. To find out more about us, go to thetvdudes.com and electricsweater.com. I'm Grant Davis. Thanks for listening.